What's up, everybody? Welcome to SLC Puck. I'm your host, Austin Facer, and I'm back. I'm back where I belong, SLC Puck Studios. It's like, it's like you find your favorite article of clothing. It's warm, it's fitted, it's familiar, it's comfortable. Like an old hoodie, you just slip it on, and it feels so nice. That's how it feels to be back here in SLC Puck Studios. If you saw last episode, I did it from poolside at a pool at the All-Star Resort, All-Star Sports Resort at Disney World in Florida. And it was hard. It was a bit of a challenge, but, hey, consistency is key. So we're trying to get the podcast going for you guys twice a week. Usually do the midweek episode on Wednesdays, but we had to skip yesterday because, and I'm recording this right now on Thursday, June 12th. I've been 33 for a week now. That's crazy. But we had to skip yesterday's because a little bit of a snafu. I had like a little portable mic, and I had every intention of recording the show from Disney World. Wouldn't that have been fun? But unfortunately, our plans were denied when we were caught in the middle of a random rainstorm that just came out of nowhere and got us soaking wet and ruined my microphone, which was in the bottom of my nephew's stroller and was floating in like an inch of water pretty soon after that. So, hey, shiz happens. What are you going to do? We're happy, though. We're excited. We're back here at SLC Puck Studios here in the Salt Lake Valley. Excited to give this show to you. It feels good to be out of Florida, something the Edmonton Oilers can't say just yet. Holy moly, Game 3 against the Florida Panthers. That was as bad of an ass-kicking as I've seen in quite some time. Florida was dominant in the 6-1 victory, and Edmonton looked a little discombobulated, I guess we'll say, a little unraveled, a little rattled, perhaps. That was a pretty, in terms of theatrics, it was an awesome game to watch. But if you're an Edmonton fan, and I don't know how many Edmonton fans watch this show, we cover the Utah Mammoth primarily. But if you're a Utah-based Oilers fan, you probably aren't super optimistic about the Oilers' odds now. Florida took a 2-1 lead. I think they could easily be up 3-0 in the series. I think they're playing with house money right now. I think they might run away with their second consecutive Stanley Cup. And how does that affect? Oh, I know what you're saying, Austin. How does that affect us here in Utah? Well, there's a point to be made, and I'll get to it in just a second. But hey, let me first do a shameless plug here on the SLC Puckovision. You can see this is a technological advancement. My merch, it's what funds the program, keeps it running here. I got lots of great stuff. It's all pretty well priced, I'll say that, especially the Big Tusk Energy stuff. That's the new lifestyle brand that powers SLC Puck. So a lot of this, all the Big Tusk Energy stuff is less than $25. So make sure you hop on that and check it out. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on these videos as well. That helps me out more than anything. But yes, the Stanley Cup Finals going on. And by the way, one more quick plug. The SLC Puck Bracket Challenge was a huge success. So big congrats to Warren Sprocket for winning. We've been in contact. He's emailed me. I need to email him back to get his order for the prize pack. So congrats to Warren Sprocket for the first ever victory and the first ever SLC Puck Stanley Cup Playoffs Bracket Challenge. We'll do that every year. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Something we'll implement in the show for its lifetime, which will be coincidentally the rest of my lifetime. So there you go. Mortality. All right. Just had to get a sip of soda right there. Mortality, I think the Oilers might be on life support right now. I mean, granted, Florida has to win 2 more games to clinch their second consecutive Stanley Cup. But my goodness, did Florida look dominant in Game 3 on what day? On the 10th. That was 2 days ago. That was bad math. That was Tuesday. Oh man, there was 21 penalties taken by the Oilers, 85 penalty minutes. They pulled their starting goaltender. There was a line brawl in the third period, and one of the players was irritated enough to squirt a stream from his water bottle at the Florida bench. I'm reading the game story by Greg Wyshynski from ESPN. Holy moly, the Panthers got under their skin. Florida played their game. They've got a few rats on their team, not to mention Brad Marchand, just one of them, right? But they've got quite a few guys who are agitators. They got under Edmonton's skin, and it showed in a big way. We'll see how Edmonton responds. But again, back to my point. I've been saying this for a little bit now. I've been saying, listen, there's this guy who plays for Florida, and I know you guys who are already hockey fans are rolling your eyes at how remedial this is, but Sam Bennett has been dominant for the Florida Panthers, and I've been saying that this is a guy that the Utah Mammoth should target in free agency. I think his play has been so good in the Stanley Cup Final, and especially in Game 3, I sort of believe that it might be time to abandon those hopes and dreams, because I at this point, if nothing else in the show, we're realistic, and I think it might be a little unrealistic to think that Utah would be a destination for Sam Bennett at this point. He's just too good. The other team, Florida, is not going to let him go. He's got a blank check. He's going to have a lot of suitors from all around the National Hockey League. I'm sure his primary interest is in returning to Florida, although I'm sure Utah, if any team, would be able to overpay him. However, I've been following this a little bit on Twitter. It's been kind of hard to keep up on the news when you're having fun at Disney World, but here, I found this account on Twitter. You guys may or may not be aware of this. I think it's actually a really good one. I think this guy, whoever runs it, NHL Trade Alert, does a really good job of aggregating what all the insiders are saying about the National Hockey League. And I believe this was taken from the 32 Thoughts podcast with Elliot Friedman on Utah. This was on the 10th, same day as the butt kicking that the Oilers inflicted on the Panthers inflicted on the Oilers. On Utah, the tweet says, and if you're not seeing this because you're listening to this in your car on Apple or Spotify, get over to YouTube as soon as you get home. Jeez. But on Utah, they are expected to be active this offseason. He says, and it's Friedman here, I heard that the Mammoth are discussing some stuff, and some stuff might not be necessarily considered small. He says the pressure is on, and they're in the middle of a lot of things. Ooh, could that be signing Sam Bennett? No, I don't think so. This other tweet here, I pulled up the same one. So authentic what you're seeing here, guys. A little bit of a boo-boo here. There was another tweet that I thought was interesting. By the way, and here's one, right? Here's another one. Matthias Michelli being floated as a trade. Someone the Utah Hockey Club, or the Utah Mammoth, are putting out on the trade block. I think that's correct, and I'm sure they are. He had a horrible season for the Utah Hockey Club. But there's this other tweet. I lost it here. I want to make sure I say it correctly. So let me just kill time by continuing to talk and talk and talk and talk. I believe it was from the Chris Johnson show, but it basically went on to say that free agency is not necessarily the route that the Utah Mammoth are going to take this offseason, which to me suggests we're going to be looking at a trade or maybe a multitude of trades to really shake up this roster. Again, the Chris Johnson show was the one that cited Utah's primary means of bettering the team not being, acquiring guys in free agency, but rather a trade. And so to me, I think you get that insider knowledge. You also sort of look at the larger conversation in the National Hockey League. I mean, Paul Bissonnette said he thinks Sam Bennett's going to get a $10 million contract this offseason, which would be more than double what he's making right now. So not saying Utah's not a team that can't offer him that kind of contract, but will they? Chris Johnson would say probably not. So again, if you're smelling something right now as you're listening to the show, it's not me, although I do stink of the Orlando airport still. I literally just got off the plane from our trip to Florida. And I'll say this, and I know nobody asked, but a trip to Florida is a lot of fun as long as you don't spend any time among Floridians or in the Florida area. Disney World is great. It's a massive achievement of the human mind and creativity and teamwork and camaraderie, all attributes and characteristics that no one else in Florida has. Florida is a wretched place. I lived there for a year. It was absolutely awful. It was the worst year of my life. So happy to be back here in Utah. That's just a tangent. But what you're smelling, folks, as I said, you're smelling a trade. I think we're seeing the foundation here for what could be a big swing for the Utah Mammoth. Now, we've said this in previous episodes, trade targets could include Tage Thompson, Buffalo, and Jason Robertson from Dallas. It seems like the Dallas conversation has a lot more to it. I think, let me just continue to find this tweet. Yeah, on the sheet today, Jeff Merrick said that Dallas is possibly trading Jason Robertson. He speculates Ottawa, then talks Anaheim. Anaheim just acquired Chris Kreider today as well. So the Ducks are making moves, but again, the Utah Mammoth have to be considered in the conversation for all of these big trades, especially for like a quality asset like Jason Robertson, who's been a 100-point scorer in the National Hockey League, fills a lot of the needs that the Utah Mammoth have. Big body, big shot, goal scorer guy, top 6 forward. He's someone for sure that they're monitoring. It wouldn't surprise me if the seed has been planted there with GM. His first name is Hill is his last name in Dallas. I'll never forget Utah's GM's name. It's Bill Armstrong. I have a great video of myself with him up on my social media. I encourage you guys to go check that out and follow me, please. But again, I think the groundwork is there. Where there's smoke, there's fire, folks. And I see a little bit of smoke here on the horizon. And I think we're only going to see this continue to escalate. Hey, guys, sorry for the interruption. It's me, Austin, just reminding you that we still have this incredible promotion going on with Payne Anthony, Creative Jewelers, and Jonathan's Jewelry. Remember, guys, it's the easiest $250 raffle you'll ever be a part of. All you got to do is scan this QR code in the corner right here. You'll be prompted to send a message. Hit send on that sucker, and you're in the raffle. That's all it takes. We've been giving out a gift card to Payne Anthony, Creative Jewelers, or Jonathan's Jewelry every episode of SLC Puck for like a few months now. I mean, it's crazy. I can't believe the generosity of spirit at Payne Anthony, Creative Jewelers, and Jonathan's Jewelry. These guys are awesome. Wedding season's here. This is where you got to go when your partner starts getting on your case about you not committing. That's on you guys. It's time to commit. Find someone special, tell them that you love them, and show it with a beautiful engagement ring, and get that sucker from Payne Anthony, Creative Jewelers, or Jonathan's Jewelry. We'll make it easy on you. Even if you don't win the raffle, head into either one of those locations and just mention SLC Puck. They'll knock $100 off your purchase for you right then and there. So big thanks to Payne Anthony, Creative Jewelers, and Jonathan's Jewelry for their support of SLC Puck. And let's get back to the show. And I think we're going to see smoke screens. I think we're going to see some positioning, some posturing for what the Utah Mammoth might do, especially as the NHL Draft rolls closer, right? I've talked about this on previous episodes. We've been tracking who GMBA has been taking out to dinner, and lucky fellas, a dinner with GMBA sounds like a great time. He's such a really nice guy. I was just caught a little bit of the most recent Nashcast podcast, not the most recent one, but the first one that Tyson and Mike Folta did with Bill Armstrong and Tyson Nash, I should say, my buddy Tyson Nash. And it was really cool to listen to Bill Armstrong talk about like his approach to negotiations in particular. Like this quote really stood out to me for one. He's like, hey, the soul of the player is really important. I mean, when we sit down for negotiations, we say, listen, we're doing this because we love you. And these are hard conversations that we need to have them, but we want to do them in such a way that they don't leave a scar on the player when we, unfortunately may have to part ways or whatever. Like this is a guy who like really is a player's player, a player's general manager, I should say. And again, that's a great episode of Nashcast. So encourage you guys to check that out. But again, I do think these dinners are kind of interesting, and I don't know anything. I'm not enough of an insider to be in the loops on this quite yet. We're making plans for what next season might look like for SLC Puck and might look like for my coverage of the team on KSL.com. So stay posted for that. But what we're talking about here is like these all these moves, all these dinners, right? I said this before. I think there's kind of like an Elizabethan parlor situation happening where, it's the high school lunchroom. Everybody's watching who's talking to who invited her to to homecoming. Oh my gosh, he's going to be so mad, so jealous. She's trying to get back at him. It's an episode of Euphoria, folks. I think that's not in a small way what's happening. I think the other general managers are for sure watching who the Utah Mammoth are taking out to dinner. We've seen they want to take guys like Brady Martin, the farm strong boy, out a little bit to get to know him. Michael Misa as well. We do know there's rumors that the New York Islanders might be interested in trading for that 4th overall pick so they can get a Long Island native James Higgins. There's a lot of interesting things really happening, especially as the draft draws closer. I think we're coming up on 2 weeks away now. I believe it's on the 27th from Los Angeles. But so many things to watch here. And I think these dinners, again, are as interesting as they are. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of some misdirection, some talking here, and we'll see how that plays out. It's interesting. It's fun to speculate. And again, if you were just reading the tea leaves here, it seems like a trade on draft day is being worked on quite a bit right now. The other thing I really want to talk to you guys about, this video has been pretty cool. So again, let me direct your attention to Puckovision, was this update provided by the Delta Center. And obviously the Delta Center is undergoing major renovation over the next few years to be a state-of-the-art venue for not only hockey, which it wasn't last year. We can just be totally honest. There were a lot of sightline issues that they did the best they could this last year. They had to. There's no other choice. Like, hey, team's yours now. Take it, run with it. I thought they did a really nice job. I sat in a bunch of different seats around the Delta Center last year, and I did sit in some of the bad seats, and that was a little frustrating, but those were only $10 and or free those times I did, so I wasn't terribly upset. But it's really exciting to see the renderings that we saw about a month ago. I think it was the start of May that we saw look at what they plan on doing at the Delta Center with the articulating, the retracting bowl situation, so it can be very steep for basketball and a little more flat and laid out for hockey, which would be a more ideal seating prospect. But what they're doing to make that happen is pretty tremendous. And so again, let me just direct your attention to Puckovision so you can see everything here. You can see these are the final games at Delta Center. They took out the floor, they ripped out the seats. There's some heavy machinery there. They're cutting beams. Sparks are flying. There's cranes. There's guys lifting stuff. There's wires. I'm assuming that's to refrigerate the floor, to cool the floor, for the ice. Got to keep it cool. Beam movement happening. Listen, did I go to school for construction management? No, I got a communications degree, which is embarrassing to admit. So I don't know exactly what's happening. I couldn't explain it to you fully. But I can see a lot of movement here. These stairs outside of the Delta Center have been torn up as well. It's pretty remarkable. This is only 42 days into construction, and there's still a lot to be done and a lot that's going to happen before we see Delta Center open up for the NHL and NBA seasons, which I would imagine we'll see that those opening dates for those preseason games probably end of September, start of October for sure. But it's pretty wild what's happening there. And my guy over at Deseret News, Brogan Houston, did a great story on what exactly we're seeing here at the Delta Center. So I encourage you guys to check out Brogan's story right here. According to SEG, crews of about 350 people have put in a collective 32,000 hours in the demolition stage. Engineers have moved pieces of concrete and steel to make room for an expanded playing surface, which will be 12 feet longer at each end. They're also making room for a new parking structure, which will hold about 450 vehicles. So that's smart. By the end of the summer, there will no longer be any obstructed view seats in the lower bowl for hockey games. The upper bowl will continue to have obstructed views until the next phase of construction, which will be next summer. When all phases of construction are complete, the seating capacity for hockey will increase from 11,131 plus 4,889 obstructed view seats to approximately 17,000. Basketball capacity will jump from, I didn't realize this was actually getting bigger, 18,206 to nearly 19,000. This will be done by implementing a retractable seating system that can seat at one height and length for basketball and another for hockey. So pretty amazing. And then the renovations again, a 12% increase to bathroom capacities. So that's nice. New premium spaces on level 1, 4 new dehumidifiers. That's going to be big for the ice. Remodeling the upper bowl to improve sightlines. That again next summer and the summer after. Implementing an east-facing main entrance and plaza. That's a big part of the entire renovation and reimagining of downtown Salt Lake City, connecting that area between City Creek to Delta Center in a more cohesive, walk-friendly way. Redesigning the existing plaza and concourses. See a giant mammoth statue as well. So in that circumstance. So crazy what's happening. We'll keep you posted on that. I encourage you guys to watch the video because the man hours that are being put into that are quite astounding. It's blowing my mind how quickly they're getting that up. I mean, they're just throwing hours at this thing as much as they can. 42 days. Listen, I'm not a math expert. Again, I just admitted, embarrassingly, that I only got a communications degree. But to slam 32,000 hours of work in just 42 days, let's see how many hours are in 42 days. Let's just see here. I don't know what kind of... There's only 1,008 hours in 42 days. So that just speaks to the man hours they put in. That's crazy. That to me, that says they have crews working about 20-hour days on this project. That's pretty bonkers. I feel like that was good math. If I have any mathematicians out there who listen, and I don't know why you do, but please, let me know if my math was good on that. And I just came up with that right off my head. Thank you, Caffeine Fix. Thank you, Dr. Pepper. It's amazing. I'm super excited. I think we're going to have just something to be really proud of. Hockey, the Olympics, it's all part of this amazing thing that's happening right now in downtown Salt Lake City. But who's going to be playing for the Mammoth when that happens? Ooh, I think we'll have some answers to those questions soon, be it a trade, be it a draft pick, be it some movement with our prospects. We'll keep you posted right here at SLC Puck. Hey, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Big thanks to everybody who's supporting the show with buying merch. Buy some more merch. Why not? We'll talk to you guys soon, and take care of yourself. Be back on Sunday.